Switzerland. It was fantastic. Okay, well, just a little bit, a little disclaimer. I have no hard tech technology, so do not expect that. I will try to make more like my path in biodesign, what I learned about the healthcare innovation fields, and then a little bit of my project, more in a version like something. You don't have technology, but you have a beautiful logo. Yeah, I know. Okay, so I would like to start with this. That is actually a good phrase that I found. And I really find it very powerful because the only thing that is disruptive is user adoption. If you can invent a better way, and if customers agree that it's a better way, then they will use it. This is something that Jeff Bezos said to the press, talking about all the gadgets that Amazon developed but never launched. So it's not about the technology or how complex it's about like the solution that we are proposing, but how the solution fits with our customer needs. So these are like the questions that I would like to answer by the end of the presentation. Like how did we start with this project? What did we learn about healthcare innovation in Latin America? What was our strategic focus? And finally, what did we finally develop? So we started with this big question. I think it's something ambitious. But how do we develop a $1 billion startup that delivers value to the most vulnerable patients in Latin America? And after 2 weeks, we were like this. It wasn't that simple. And we started to understand the healthcare economics. So these are the 4 sub-industries in healthcare that we went through, all the industry pivoting, and for over 4 months and 300 interviews, we pivoted from all these sub-industries. Medical devices, medtech logistics, then we went to dental supply, and finally the sub-industry that we are right now, that is patient engagement in pharmaceutical industry. So what we found is that actually none of these sub-industry has a really big economic opportunity. And however, we did found like user needs along the way. Okay, so the problem wasn't like that there wasn't any need to solve. Actually, there was some needs that patient faced, but no stakeholder has strong enough incentives to pay to solve the problem. So after 6 months, I think like this is the main lesson that I could understood from the healthcare innovation, that actually there are a bunch of problems at a patient level that we can actually solve. But the challenge for emerging countries is actually discover who's willing to pay for solving these problems. So we then developed by the results of our interviews and like the economics that we discovered, this acceptance criteria for the project that we finally developed. It has to be a product that it must not be that regulated. It must add value to the patient. At the end, we are called people, so it has to be accessible for everybody who needs it. We have to have early traction with almost 6 months results with less than $2,000. That was our financial constraint by January. We have to have an incentivized payer because, like as we all know, out of pocket expenditure is not that much, and at the end, like the patient is not really the customer. And we should have like deep understanding about the economics. It has to have some effect on improving health outcomes. And well, this because of funding, it has to be a market size more than $200 million in Latin America.
Is it during school you're doing this or outside?
This yeah, no, it was like this year. Okay. Yeah. So we founded People, and we named the company People because we do it for them. It's like something to remember that always we have to have the name of the patients in our heads. And this is our mission. Our 10-year mission is to build a digital health ecosystem for the largest community of patients in emerging countries. Right now, as you will see, we are currently starting with pharmaceutical industry. So this is what we do right now. We support patients and pharmaceutical companies to optimize adherence and management for mostly biological treatments that are high-cost treatments. And what we found out is that the problem that we are actually solving has an economic part and actually a social part. Because non-adherence in treatment is one of the main reasons, because first, like the social part is because patients don't achieve the outcomes of their treatments due to lack of adherence. And actually, this same problem represents more than $600 billion annually in lost revenue for pharmaceutical companies. So it's a huge market opportunity, and we found that it separated adherence in two main problems. Two main needs. Some needs that is related more to our user, that is the patient, more related to the commitment that the patient have to have in order to be committed to complete the treatment. That we actually solved with the solution that we developed, and the pharmaceutical industry and the pharmaceutical needs that are more related to institutional lack of access in institutional level, like a shortage or operational inactivities, something like these problems. And the needs are that in the patient case is the cancer management is so exhausting and complex because of all the information and related to the organization and the planification that they have to do, but they don't have the tools to do it. And in the case of pharma, it's more related to the lack of access evidence in emerging countries, because there's no data about like these real world problems that actually patients face in a real world context. And now we already solved this problem. So why now? And this problem has like some perfect timing stuff, like from 2007, the prices of mostly biological treatments rose more than 140%, which makes that less people access to the treatments, but increase the ticket per person. And this actually is kind of, this is complemented by the fact that since in the last decade, we have like more competitions, more clients, more products. Actually, the number of first launchers pharmaceutical companies increased by 300% thanks to the VC funding, all of this, which finally ends to the needs of these companies to provide more value to the system. Because if they don't do it, they lose market share. So we're a virtual assistant for oncological patients that optimizes adherence and management of biological treatments. I will have like these three value propositions. One for increased effectiveness of market access strategies for pharmaceutical companies, because we gave them the data of the patients that are currently in their treatments. Like we improve patient engagement, but we provide the tools to the patients in order to organize better and monitoring better and planificate better their treatments. And finally, we provide from actionable insights from the real world in real time, because as the patient is our main source of information, we can have like an end-to-end patient journey that is currently an information that is not available in any country in Latin America at accuracy. So we have our go-to-market strategy that is actually providing this service to anyone who needs it. So by doing this, we can build some network effects that will add value to the company because we are a data-driven company at the end. And once we have like a large volume of patients, we will have a business model more like a B2B2C with two main revenue streams proposals. There is like patient support programs that actually pharmaceutical companies already do it, and market research analysis for pharmaceutical companies regarding like the access landscape of their treatments in Latin America. And this is the market size. Actually, we like pharmaceutical companies spend in average like $500 per patient in solutions like this. In patient support programs, there is our like the evidence that we had. So it represents a $2.2 billion market size in Latin America that is related to the growing prevalence of cancer to 232. And actually, as we are getting started, this could be a good opportunity to grow vertically. So this is our competitive landscape, and I would like to separate into teams. Like these are like the companies that we are actually competing with in a customer competitive landscape, because mostly all of these companies already have some business model related to pharmaceutical companies and the same product that we are some like develop, but this is our competition for users, like physical diary. This is a really huge evidence that is actually the main insight that makes this all possible, because once oncological patients are diagnosed, most of them are likely to buy a diary to monitor them and plan and do the planification of their treatments. And well, our competitive advantage is the team expertise that I will talk about later. Our market growing is 20% year over year, and like the go-to-market network effect that no company actually is doing it in this competitive landscape. Okay, so more in the experiments that we did to validate this whole product, we did a cohort of 5 weeks with 22 patients to validate like the actual way that, for example, pharmaceutical companies and doctors monitor the patients, and like we are doing right now with a high penetration platform like WhatsApp. And as you can see, we achieve like 90% of retention by the 5th week in this setup. But in the case of phone calls, we only achieved 30% of retention by the week 5. And we had an average response rate of 45 minutes of the patients. And this is our traction so far. We are growing mostly organically. We launched it like 2 months ago. We right now operate with more than 70 patients. We grow like 85% week over week, and we actually validated our most referral growth engine that is made by referrals. So this is our acquisition channel right now that is pushing very well. And these are some stats that I think adds value, like 98% We're not focusing right now in adherence because we are trying to validate usability, but 98% of the people retain to their treatment. We have like less than 1% of churn rate, and 73% of our whole patients are from the public sector, like very low income people. And the way that makes this possible is that even these people are accessing biological treatments that cost $70,000, right? Even in the public setup, they are acquiring biological treatments that they probably didn't even know that cost that much. But this incentivizes the payer to provide the investment needed to make this possible and reach low-income people. So this is a pro demo. We started like with standardized messages. Just our first prototype was our co-founder, Brigitte. It was like texting every patient. Now we have like the half of the interactions automatized. But we have like an overall monitoring like per day, whether it's a Likert scale where they can report how they feel. Then we have an overall monitoring about like the symptoms that they already reported. And they also can have the option to submit the treatment schedule. So we do now like where the patient is going, like when the patient is going to the medical consultation, and if the patient finally did go to the medical consultation. That are like the patient journey, the patient journey that is actually now digitalized. And this is a report that we sent, and one of the reasons why our patient uses very much. We solve two needs, like the need of organize themselves through this report, and the planification through mostly reminders about medical doses and medical appointments reminders. And like all Mondays in the night, all the patients receive this report regarding everything that happened in this week, in order to download the report and show it to their physician. So far, this was the acceptance criteria that I showed at the beginning. And well, we so far try to, we have hypothesized that we achieved like in an overall hypothesis every campus, like a double-digit market growth, 100 more than 100, 200 million market size, effect on providing health outcomes because of adherence, deep understanding of the economics, and an incentivized payer that actually is paying for this. 6 month results, we achieved this to be accessible for everybody. Like 73% of our patients are from the public sector, and finally to add value to the patient for cancer management. So this is the team. Well, actually, my father and the mother of Brigitte were diagnosed of cancer last year. So we experienced like very face-to-face these problems and disorganization problems that these patients, because of like the large volumes of information that they receive. I work in Johnson & Johnson, also work at Roche, two of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. Brigitte also worked in Roche, and Leonardo Torres is the CTO and one of the smartest people that I've ever known. And actually, thanks to Yusuf, that it helped us a lot from the beginning of our launching date. And Julian Skuczynski, that was the ex-CEO of Roche Peru, and ex-product owner in Pfizer. So this is our team. Thank you.
I have a question. So, excellent presentation, excellent opportunity. I think that this is wonderful, and I think that the patient advocacy groups and the pharmaceutical companies are probably going to be extremely happy with this kind of solution. I was curious when you presented if in that piece of the cake that you cut in so many pieces, the limit was not $2,000, but 20 or 50. What difference would it have made? It looks like $2,000 is a very small amount of money.
$2,000 for what?
You said that
6 months and $2,000.
Oh, that was our financial constraint. We only had
No, he's saying what would be different if it was 10,000.
Oh, well, what would be different? So we will put like some legal structure in order to monetize with data. So that's one thing that we will invest into. The product, because we have to put some code in it, like 70 patients, it's not possible to manage for just one person. And growth, like because our go-to-market strategy, we have to focus on growth. Actually, we already closed out our first angel investment, so we will have some, I hope so, better results right now.
Is there a way you could get information from someone else apart from the patient? Like, for example, the caretakers?
We tried. Like, we have like this model with like, I don't know how to say, but these, like the partner of the patient that in some cases do most of the caretaker. Yeah. We have only one case of these 70 patients. So I would say that.
So it's doable.
Yeah, it's doable. It's doable. It's doable.
How to like combine, or I mean, the pharmaceuticals, they have problems for their patients.
Yeah.
How is that those programs work? How do they work with like?
Okay. So mostly a patient support programs is composed by a monitoring part, like that's like the monitor part for calling all the patients in a periodic time, yeah, and learn about like the adherence and that they are going to a treatment and what problems, and if they face any problem, most of the time pharmaceutical companies try to provide like some services, additional services, just by the fact that they are in their current treatment, right? So we are competing with these monitoring platforms that right now is doing mostly by call centers.
Mm-hmm. And then they will like work together with those programs that they.
Yeah, we have to work with the program. So we have identified the needs because we have like more data than all these call centers. We also have like the whole data analytics of the cancer journey, and that's how we show them to the pharmaceutical companies.
And I mean, you do the follow up, so there is adherence to the treatment. And do you also plan to do something like for well-being of the patients?
Well-being. Yeah, but what do you mean? Well?
I don't know, for example, if there is something that you want them to know about nutrition, about lifestyle, about meditation, yoga, I don't know, like, can it be adapted also to your platform?
In which? sense.
Show the screen with the different screenshots of the app.
Yeah, I think
monitoring.
instead of just adhering, like, what symptoms are you having and are you taking your pills?
Yeah.
Like, what are other?
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe if someone says, I'm having a lot of nausea, is there any way your platform can tell them, like, okay, take some ginger or water?
We, in that case, the regulatory pathway increased a little bit, because we are like suggesting like some medical things. So we reduce all the product to the simplest form. That is, like, we have the evidence that they already use diary, and actually they use it in all the days, like every day, and that's why we also function.
In the case for the regulatory part, maybe possibly bypass that by making it more as an educational way, so you can give them access to either articles or that information while not saying, telling them to do that. So maybe that would be something reasonable we need to have.
Yeah, actually, that's another need that we identified. Like the information, the accessibility to information is a very huge need for these patients, and the way that they solve it right now is in two ways. Google, like, that doesn't work pretty well, and advocacy community patients. Like, these are the two sources of information that most of the patients has. We tried, like, at the beginning with providing some information, like with the right sources and all of this. But we do it on a on-demand basis. Like, one time we found out that, like, when we had like 30 patients, 25 of them had like some pain in the breast cancer operation. So all of them, like 25 out of 30. So we do know that we did know like the 25 of our patients. So we could prepare, because of the data, the information that they need in order to help them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, just is there a difference in adherence? Is there a relationship between how bad, how sick you are, and how much you adhere to treatment? Or is it not related? Like, if you're very sick, you're more prone to stay than if you're less sick?
I would say, yeah. We found some cases that people that just gave up of the treatment, and they don't want to go to the medical anymore because they don't believe them. It's hard.
This application could be wide more. Like, if some companies such as Roche wants to buy this solution, but as the name of them, like, actually, like, you don't see the name of people
like licensing.
Yeah, but the name of Roche, but you have like the ally. But you have the ally of them, like, you're I don't know the name in English, is Macro.
No, tampoco sé en español.
So kind of like they're using their alias in your system.
Yeah, they're using your technology, but they're like.
But they want their brand in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are open to that.
Okay.
Yeah, but actually, one of the reasons that pharmaceutical companies spend so much in this kind of solutions, it's because they cannot manage like the data of the data of the patient. So in a regulatory landscape for them, it's very complex in order to call the patient because of marketing and all of this. They are very regulated.
I'm actually asking that because right now in Boston Scientific we are trying to use something very similar to this, but one of the companies that you already mentioned that is from Colombia. So
Health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, because we want to know how is the quality of life of patients
and there are adherence to cardiology treatments. So one of the major things that we want to know is that it's possible that they can be white wine, because we don't want to know the data, but we want to analyze the data in order to create more accessible and adherent of treatments for the improve of our community and company, but also the treatment for them and the knowledge that they can have.
Yeah, so
that's why I was asking that.
You do understand very well the problem. Yeah. Validation.
Congratulations.